Hi, good morning, Shika. You are able to hear me and able to see my screen.
Good morning, Vishal. Yeah, I can see.
Perfect. Okay. And sorry for the delay, Shika. Actually, I was in train. I was traveling, so that's the reason. Okay.
Oh, no issue, no issue.
Thank you. So,
Okay.
any doubts in the previous classes?
No.
Okay. So the other day we saw how to create getters. Okay, how to create getters. Okay, getters are nothing but just the methods. Okay, that's what we have seen. Now, today what we'll be seeing is today we'll be seeing setters for a particular object. Okay, setters of an object. Okay, and these are also setters are also nothing more than a method. Okay, say I'll create the same class. I'll take the same example, that is bank account. For some reason it is slow. Just a minute. It's taking some time. Let me just exit this and reload. Okay, now say I have a class. Okay, just a minute. I have a class called as bank account, and other day we have seen this is a class bank account, and it had some some properties. Okay, class bank account. One of the property was long, and it was balance or account balance, something like that. Okay, now the other day we created the methods. Okay, now method was something like this: public void get balance. Okay, and what this method did is whatever is the balance for that particular object, what is the value of the balance property, it used to return. Okay, and the return type was long in that case. Okay, that is the most important thing, guys. Return type was long. Okay, and we are able it, and simply we had written something like this inside it: return balance. Okay, this is the getter for balance. Okay, now in case of setters, what we'll be doing is we'll be doing almost similar thing, but with a little difference. Now setters is how to set the values inside it. Okay, now I'll create one more copy of this my access my account. Okay, I'll say 2. Okay, and we also discussed in the other class what is the use of making this one as a private. Okay, making this one as a private. Okay, and we also saw if at all a variable is annotated, I mean marked as private, its access modifier is private, then that variable can be accessed only inside this bank account class. Okay, so that is what we have seen. And actual getters will not have this the simple getter need not have this username and password we passing here, but we did it just to show how can we control the access of a particular variable, or else how can we do some kind of validation before we return the value of that particular property. Okay, now that was about the getter. Now when I say about the setter, now I'll not use this getter. Instead I'll say I'll use a simple getter called as get account name, and here also I'll say, okay, say this is my getter. Okay, this is my getter. Now I also told you guys, never we will have these things as hard coded. Okay, in 99% of the time we will not have these things hard coded, guys. Instead we have to give a method. Okay, when it is a private, you cannot even do something like this. Okay, you cannot do b1 dot b1 dot account name. Okay, just a minute. You cannot directly access here b1 dot account name. That's because account name is a private variable. You cannot say something like Vishal. This again will gonna give you an error because account name is a private field and you cannot access it outside the class. Okay, that is what we have seen other day. See, field account bank account dot account name is not visible. Okay, that is what it is saying. Its visibility is inside, only inside this class. Now in that case, and I also told you normally we will not have this hard coded. Okay, so in that case, if I want to set the account name, how it should be is similar like this getter method, but instead of get, now you will use simple thing. Okay, the return type will be void. Okay, return type will be void because this method need not give you anything. Instead of get, I will say set account name, and if at all it has to set account name. Okay, say account name is equal to something here. Account name is equal to something, then that something has to be passed. So you will say string, say acc name. If I do this, that's it. Now I can call this method whenever I want to assign any name to give any name, give any account name. I will say b1 dot set account name, and I can pass anything. J. Now what's gonna happen is it will gonna first create the bank account. Okay, object. Let me see it in debug mode. Okay, now nothing is there in the variables tab. I'm executing line number 7. B1 got created, but account name is null. Now again, if I say set account name, it will call this particular method, that is this method, and J will be assigned. J will be assigned to variable account name. And now what we are doing, this account name we are passing acc name. J will be assigned to this variable called acc name. This acc name we are in turn passing it to account name. So what will gonna happen is this account name here will change from null to whatever value that you have passed, and this is the concept of setter. Okay, now if I run this, See, it came here. ACC name is Jai. Now this ACC name will be assigned to this account name. Okay. See, it has been assigned to account name. That's the thing, guys. That's what I was talking about. Okay, and that's what it is printing. System.out.println. You're then again getting the account name and you're printing. Is there any doubt in setter methods? Getters and setters are very, very important, guys. If you want to understand something called as constructors in Java, getters and setters are very much important. If there is any doubt, you can ask me. If no doubt, we can proceed further. And again,
So you
yeah, go ahead.
mean to say this? You're declaring the method set account name, and at the same time you're passing the account name in that as a parameter.
Correct, correct. That's
So
right.
basically, this getter and setter is just used for the setting and just pulling the value. I mean,
Yes,
used for this getter and setter, you can say this only, right?
yes, yes.
Okay.
You can say this itself. That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Just 1 minute. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay, it is just for setting the value and getting the value. Okay, and as we discussed in the last class, okay, we can also do some uh, validation here. Like you can make this setter method to like, get more things like string uname comma string password, and then you can do an if condition here. If the password and username are correct, that's when you set it. Otherwise you don't set it. Okay, you can do all those things as well. Okay.
So Vishal, we
Yeah,
can give any name, no? Any name to the method.
yes, you can give, practically you can give any name. Okay, it's like even if you say this is also a setter or getter, any name you can give, but it's an industry practice that they always give these kinds of name. What they will just copy paste this variable. For example, they will take this variable and they will put it here, and they will first put set here for setter, and instead of lowercase a they will make a. That's it.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so it's just
ss
a
should be
best
lowercase.
practice. But if you go to, any method name also we can give, but it's a best practice we should give to understand set and get in front
Yes,
of this
that's right.
name.
Yes, that's correct. You got it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, this is about the getters and setters. And any doubts in this private variable here? No. Okay, we will be revisiting this private public protected, but I just want you to have a hang of it. That's the only reason, because getters and setters can be best explained only when you have this private variable. Okay, so that is the thing. Now,
You have this private variable declared on bank account class, and you're trying to access
no,
that into the
not the bank account class. I have the private variable declared for a variable called account name here.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It is declared inside the bank account class, no?
Correct. Inside, you said,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Inside.
if you, so
Mhm.
if you have any other class after this, if suppose if you make one more class, in that case you won't be able to access in that class this particular variable.
That's correct. That's right.
Okay, okay, I got it.
Yeah. So when you say it's a account name, like it's a private, it can be accessed only inside this particular class. Okay. And I cannot, that's the reason I cannot say anywhere I cannot access it. See, I cannot say b1 dot account name. See, account name is not at all coming. But as soon as I make it as from private to say public, okay, and if I say now, it's say account name is coming up. Okay, that is the thing, guys. Okay, but we will be revisiting this private, protected, public, all these things. Okay. Now, what are constructors in Java? Okay, what are constructors in Java? That is what we need to learn next. And why do we need the constructor? Okay, that's what we'll be learning next, guys. Okay, just a minute here. Okay, what are constructors in Java? Okay, and constructors are very important, guys. Okay, now all this while we have seen, we have created the class. Okay, class like bank account class. Okay, and we had some variable called, string account name and long balance. String account name and long balance. Now the next question is, say if at all I have a requirement. Okay, say I have a requirement that I'll be like create accounts. Okay, create accounts. Okay, there is one more class. There is a requirement for me to create many objects and save it into the database. Okay, save it in the database. How will you normally do? You will have, and every time you have to make sure that account name and the balance are set to something. Okay, so how will you do it? Basically, you have to do bank account b1 is equal to new bank account. Okay, and then you will probably say b1 dot account name is equal to something apc, b1 dot balance is equal to 5,000, okay, or 50,000, something like this. And then what's the problem here? b1 dot balance is equal to 100. Ignore this for a while, okay, this one. Okay, but imagine, or else let me make it as int itself. Okay, and 100. Now these are the two steps involved. Okay, then if at all you save this object into this database, okay, you have to write some code, okay, to save object in db. Okay, now what will gonna happen is, then you might repeat this process, correct? You might repeat this process. Say this is b2, and this is again b2, and this is again b2. Okay, and again you will save this object in database. Okay, and the database, there might be a table like this. The table name is bank account, and it will have two columns. One is account name, and second one is balance one. Okay, and the first time account name will be abc, and balance will be 100. Okay, and say second time you are writing xyz, and your balance is 700. Okay, so second time you will have xyz and 700. Okay, this is how it works, guys. Okay, and anything what we do, for example, we are developing any kind of application, this is how it will gonna be. When we save, it will get saved in the database, guys. Now for example, you don't want someone to say this is the program that Shika has written. Okay, this is the program that Shika has written. It is not necessary that this code also Shika itself will write. Okay, this code someone else might write. Okay, this is like this. For example, if at all we have string x is equal to 22, correct? And if we are definitely saying, or else string x equals to something, and we will say x dot length. Okay, did we write this method length method, but we are calling this method, right? In the same way, did we write this string class? No, we did not write this string class. Java, I mean Oracle or Sun Microsystem had wrote this entire string class what is there in your jdk or the jre, and this length method also was written by them. Okay, and we are just making use of it. Similarly, there are all chances that you might have written some class like this. Okay, and you might have some getters and setters as well. Okay, I think you can create the getters and setters here itself. Okay, so if I right click on this now, right click, and if you say source generate getters and setters, now for some reason it depends on, I mean if there is some problem with the Eclipse, it doesn't come up, but you can ideally generate getters and setters. See, now there are, these are the getters and setters for things. Okay, that's it. And you might get confused here, so don't worry, what is this, we'll be seeing it in a while. Okay, that's the thing. So you have written this class with getters and setters, and someone is creating the object of your class, someone else. Okay, and he's saving it to the database. Now your requirement is someone should always should initialize the account name. Account name should, your requirement is, when you're writing this class, your requirement is you don't want someone to create an object and save it in the database without initializing the account name. If you don't initialize this account name to xyz in the when you save it in the database, say this is your account name, this is your balance, and account name here, account name will be null. If you don't initialize it, it will be null, correct? And you don't want that to happen. Okay, this is your requirement. Is there any way you can force this fellow, you can force you know force someone creating the object of your class, can you force him to always initialize this account name? No, you absolutely cannot. Okay, I might simply write something like this, that's it, and I'll save the things in the database. Now, what are constructors? They will say, if at all you go by official definition of the constructors, they will say constructors are used to initialize an object. This is what you will get official definition almost everywhere. But it's like, if you see the internet, no one actually tells you what exactly, why they say that constructors are used to initialize the object. Even these getters and setters, I can say, are used to initialize the object. Okay, I mean initialize the properties of the object. Even you can use getters, sorry, setters, basically setters, to initialize the, say what you call this setter called as set account name, and pass some value that will be set to the account name. But the most important thing is, getters and setters are like just normal methods. Okay, but what happens in case of constructors are used to initialize an object at the time of account creation. Means, what I mean to say is, okay, I'll just put a semicolon here, or I mean breakpoint there. And this is very important thing to know, guys. Okay, if you really want to understand the object oriented concepts, this is something important to know. Let's say okay here. See, right now there is nothing here in the variables tab. I will execute this particular line, that is line number 6. Now an object got created at the memory location 15615099. That is what we can see at the bottom. If you go inside, account name is null and the balance is 0. Account name is null, balance is 0. And someone wants to play around with your program, okay, he can easily say, even though you might have given a clear instruction to him saying that, boss, you're using my class is fine, but always make sure when you use it, initialize account name to something, okay, and the balance to something, okay, and then you save it to the database. Okay, you had given the instruction, but he might not, that person who is writing this code, this piece of code, might not obey what you have told him to obey. He might simply say like this, I mean, just create an object and save it to the database. He will not initialize the account name and the balance. So in that case, when you save it in the table, it will, account name will have null and the balance is 0, and you do not wanted this one to happen. How can you avoid this condition? How can you force someone to give you, how can you force someone to give you, always initialize these two variables? How can you force someone to initialize these two variables? That is the concept behind constructor, guys, and there is nothing else. In the constructors, you are forcing anyone who is creating the object of your class. What is your class? Your class name is account name, bank account name. You are forcing them to initialize these two properties, account name and the balance. And how to do that, I will tell you guys. Okay, how to do that, I'll tell you. And let's remove this getters and setters. Okay, let's remove this getters and setters. And there will not be many questions on getters and setters, because they themselves will not know about getters and setters. But when it comes to constructors, it's more more frequent question. Now, what are constructors? Constructor is like a method, guys. Okay, but the difference is constructor name and the class name are same. Okay, so I don't have the official definition. Okay, I mean, I don't have the definition as such. So normally, if at all you have to write a method, how will you write? You want to create a setter. Say, I'll just, you want to create a setter for account name. How will you write? Public void, you will say set, sorry, set account name, and you will take some argument here, that is string acc name, string account name, and you will say this account name is equal to acc name. This is how you will create a normal method. Correct? This is your setter method or normal method. Okay, now someone who is creating the object of your class can simply say bank account b1 is equal to new of bank account. They can say b1 dot set account name, and they can pass here something like this. Okay, now if you say sys out b1 dot account name, it will gonna give you Kiran. It will print you Kiran. Okay, see, it is printing you Kiran down at the bottom. But this is like, if someone, it comes to the same thing. Someone can easily don't do this. Instead, he can directly save this b1 object into db. But if you want to convert this setter into a method, okay, sorry, a constructor, how to do that, we'll see. Okay, and I'll remove this. First thing, there should not be any return type mentioned. So there should not be anything, not even void. So I'll remove this particular field called as void. I'll just remove this off. I've removed it. Next thing is, I will have class name and that account, this method name as the same. That's it. You remove the return type and make method name same as the class name. Now if we say same thing, bank account, okay, b1 is equal to new of bank account, it will gonna give you an error. And this is your constructor. Okay, this is your constructor. Okay, now what is that error it is saying? Let's revisit it. Okay, initially it used to, it allowed us to create an object wherein we had not initialized bank account was null and the balance was 0, but now it is not allowing me to create an object. That is the important thing to know, guys. That is the most important thing to know. Now it is not allowing me to create an object. Instead, what it is saying, constructor bank account is undefined. Constructor bank account is undefined. Now, what is the meaning of constructor bank account is undefined? The meaning is very, very simple, guys. Okay. Say you don't have anything. There is no constructor now because I have what is this? Commented this. So basically there is no constructor. When you don't have a constructor in your class, when you don't have a constructor in your class, your Java compiler adds a constructor something like this: public bank account. That's it. And it will not do anything else, guys. It will not do anything inside its body, but Java compiler adds something behind the scene. We will not see this, but your Java compiler adds it behind the scene, guys. But okay, so I'll just remove it, or I'll say Java compiler adds it. Okay, I'm not sure about the spelling here. Okay, this one, this particular constructor, and it doesn't do anything. It's like a method, something like this: public void print method. Say there is a print method and you don't do anything inside it. This is absolutely fine, right? I mean, there is nothing wrong. I mean, syntactically there is nothing. It's of no use, but there is nothing wrong. Similarly, Java compiler adds a constructor like this. But if there is any constructor written by us, that is, now we have added this constructor. Java compiler has not added this. We have added this. In these kinds of scenarios, Java compiler will not create this something called as default constructor. The constructor which is on line number 14 will be added to your class only when there is no other constructor in your class. But if there is any constructor, Java compiler will not put this constructor which is on line number 14. Since there is no argument constructor now, it is giving you an error saying that constructor bank account is not available. But you can call this constructor now. Which constructor? Bank account constructor, which takes some argument. Which Java compiler adds, it will not take any argument. No argument. But one which we have created, it takes this string argument. Now if I have to pass something, some string. Say yeah. Now if I create sy b1 dot accounting, I'll just print this beyond dot accounting. Now there is no way for someone to create the object of your class without initializing its name property. See, line number 7 here line number 7 has not been executed. Okay, and if you see the variable tab, there is nothing. Now if I create the execute line number 7, it is saying b1 account name is already initialized to Priyank. But previously when we used to do something like this, when we did not have this, we used to create the object like this, and we did not have it here as well. This was also not there because behind the scene your Java compiler used to create this constructor, and when you say new of something, it used to call this constructor, which we cannot see. Okay, behind the scene Java compiler puts it. But since now you have added this constructor, you cannot call the default constructor because the Java compiler will not add this default constructor. Instead, you have to call the constructor which is available. And how to call any constructor? To call a constructor, it is very simple, guys. You have to say new of class name, and if that constructor is taking some argument, string argument, you just pass that string argument. That's it. Shika, any doubt here?
No, but just the thing is, if when you're creating a, I mean, constructor, when you're creating the same way, how do you declare the object in the Java? The syntax is same.
No, how do you declare an object in Java?
Uh,
This line
it's
number
the
7
same
you
way
are
like
saying?
class name and the yeah.
Okay.
This is how we create the object
Yes, this is how
for
we
any
create the object. But previously, say
class.
when we did not have this, this particular constructor, how we used to create the object? Say we did not have this particular thing. Line number 8 to 10 we did not have. So we never
Then,
used to pass it.
yeah, we used to create the object and assign some value. Yeah.
Correct. And when I create this object, what used to happen? Say if I run this, sorry, not Java application, debug as Java application, and if I execute this line number 7, see b1 is object is created as you said, 100% correct, but the account name is null. And now someone can write a code here to save this b1 in db. Correct. I mean, someone can easily store this b1 object with the account name as null now. But
So only difference is when you are declaring this object at the same time you are passing the argument.
that's the only difference. Correct. So
But there is
correct.
something called parameterized constructor, and without parameter also it is there.
Yeah, argument. Yeah, parameterized constructor. See, not parameterized constructor. It's not about only constructor. That is correct what you're saying. But parameterized methods, non-parameterized method means a method which takes an argument and the method which doesn't take an argument. Here also constructor which takes an argument. Here this constructor on line number 8 to 11, it takes a string as an argument. So it is a constructor which takes arguments. Okay, so you have to pass some arguments in here. And if you declare something like this wherein you don't pass any argument, it is called non-parameterized, or the constructor which doesn't take any argument. Okay, that is the difference. But understand the concept. Why do we need the constructor? That is important. If you know that, you will be able to understand everything. So that is the main thing, guys. You should be able to identify why there is a need for the constructor first of all. So that is important thing. Are you
As
able
soon
to?
as the
Yeah.
constructor gets created, it will assign the
No, no,
initialize the
no.
object.
Nothing like constructor gets created. Always objects get created. Yeah. Okay. So what you said?
You do we need the constructors? Yeah.
No, I did not get you.
Yeah, you go ahead. You go ahead. I
Okay.
was just telling you when you asked the question, why do we need the constructor? So
Mm-hmm.
I was just trying to
Okay.
explain.
So yeah,
And
no, that is
when we
important,
create the
Shika.
constructor,
Yeah, go ahead, please. Mm-hmm. So
So,
what is the
for
exactly?
normal class, whenever we create an object, we need to just go explicitly and assign some value to that. But in case of constructor, automatically the object will initialize with some value.
Correct. It is like it depends on the logic which is written here. Say even though I'm passing here HH, say now if I run this, it's not automatic. Nothing is automatic. So it depends on the logic what we have written here. Okay. Say now variables everything is this one. Now if I say account name, it is initializing it to HH because whatever you are passing from here, that is important to know. Just a minute. It is coming to account name, and this account name your intern, so HH, that is 5 times H, will be assigned to account name, and account name your intern in putting it to ACC name, your intern putting it to account name, this variable. That's the reason you see here account name equals to HH. Okay. But say we have done some mistake and we are not doing anything here. Okay, I'm just commenting this line. So I'm not doing anything now. Now if you do the same thing, debug as Java application, account name is null. That is the important thing to know, because I'm not, say even though I'm passing this here, I'm not doing anything, so account name remains null. Are you able to understand this, or any confusion here?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay. So if I am the author of this particular class, I'm the author of this particular class, I'm writing this class, and I want to make sure that if someone creates object of my class, they should initialize, they have to initialize account name to something. Okay, then that's when I will add this particular constructor. Okay, that is important thing to know. So all other things will not matter, but this is the most important thing that matters, because if you understand this, you will remember why there is a need for the constructor. Okay, and you will be able to otherwise if there is, if you don't understand the need for the constructor, it's not like, like you're just trying to remember something. So this is the thing, guys.
Oh, Vishal, can we finish it little early because I need to go office early today?
Yeah, even I was traveling, even that will be better. And if we are done, like that's it for today, Shika. Okay, we don't have anything more than that. I will upload this, try to go through it, try to
Okay.
practice by your own. Okay, that's the thing.
Yeah. Thank you so
Okay,
much.
thanks a lot, Shika. Bye bye.
Okay. Okay. Bye.